Mayor Live, and we're live from New York on our way to there, right there, New Hampshire, which we're going to discuss in a moment. So Iowa's over. Uh, Nikki Haley came in second. That's what she says. It's only a two-man race. I think she really meant it's a man and a woman. If we're Republicans, remember, we identify man, woman. We're still able to say man and women as Republicans, Dickie. So it's a what you wanted to man and a woman race, not a two-man race. But in any event, you don't want to get too technical because it isn't a two-man race unless you somehow eliminated DeSantis and we don't know about it. Now, DeSantis, I don't want to shock you, but he came in second. So, first, by a very wide margin, the largest in history in Iowa. So I think you got to have some respect for that, but it doesn't seem like you do. Trump set every record imaginable for a Republican in Iowa. But for one vote, he won every county. I think you beat him by one vote in one county, and probably with Democratic votes. Um, if you agreed to just Republican votes in New Hampshire, you'd get wiped out, probably 30, 40%. So what you're going to try to do in New Hampshire is hijack the Republican primary. Now, it is true. The rules of New Hampshire allow you to do that, and we got to live by the rules. So we're going to have to see what happens, if we live by the rules. The end result of Iowa is that Trump beats you in every demographic, even the demographics where he didn't do as well, he still beat you. Like they say, well, college educated Republicans, you did better. No, you didn't win. You did better. There's a difference between winning and doing better. So now we're gonna, and this is important because of the state of New Hampshire and its makeup and its demographic makeup and its characteristics. You lost in every category, uh, including independents. It's just the margin by which you lost among Republicans, among older Republicans, among Republicans without a college education. You were smoked, like destroyed. Among college educated Republicans, you were beaten by a respectable amount, but you weren't smoked. And you came in third, not second. So now you're up in New Hampshire where you're sinking in more money than Trump or DeSantis. And you're going to try to convince the people in New Hampshire, who per capita, I think, lost to most people in the Civil War, that they should elect someone who doesn't know the reason for the Civil War or who has a hard time with it or thinks it's a difficult question. The people in New Hampshire are extraordinarily smart. In fact, they're not only just extraordinarily smart. I found out today in doing my research about New Hampshire that it's been rated the smartest state in the country. And too bad Dr. Maria isn't here to Dr. Maria isn't here to cheer because she'd be yelling and screaming and jumping up and down and probably acting like a cheerleader. But according to the Guru 99 free online education platform, using 6 different metrics, and this was November 2023, so it's pretty current, New Hampshire outscores Minnesota by a full point, which sounds like it means a lot. The perfect score is 60. New Hampshire got 56.82. Minnesota got 55.82. And as the smartest state in the country, measuring what? Measuring literacy. I'm sorry, let's go from the beginning here. Average IQ, graduation rates, percentage of the population with low literacy rates, average SAT scores, percentage of the states that don't have a high school diploma or GED and GDP per capita, and rank New Hampshire as the smartest state in the nation. And also with the highest GDP per capita at $74,663. Don't say that being smart doesn't end up making you more money. So we have a smart state and we have a state with relatively a good percentage of college graduates. I mean, which really happens in large part because it's the home of many universities. Dartmouth, I guess, being the most famous, but St. Anselm's, which is the site of a lot of political activity that you hear of during the campaign. I remember doing 2 debates at St. Anselm's College and giving a speech there a couple of times, giving speeches there a couple of times. So the state looks pretty much like this. Now, what will I'll show you first the state of New Hampshire, and they're off there working away, and largely, as you would expect, the northern part of the state up here, this northern part here is very Republican. That would be Cause County, right on the Canadian border, right on the Maine border. And over here is Vermont. The socialist state of Vermont and the socialist state of Massachusetts is right below it. And then we don't know what kind of state Maine is. So this is a very rural county. You're not going to get a lot of votes out of there, but they're going to be pretty much right-wing Republican. Now, Grafton is a mixed county. Hey, it ends up usually as a county voting Democrat, but it has a lot of mixture inside it because here in Hanover, Massachusetts, is Dartmouth. But a lot of the rest of it is rural. And so is this. So you're going to see a lot of Trump votes in here. You're going to see a lot of Haley votes in here. Figure Haley gets votes where the Democrats get votes. Pay attention to that, Republicans. She's the Democratic choice. Get it? Get it. Down here, it's kind of mixed up. These are the counties on the Mass border. So this Cheshire tends to be Dem. Hillsborough generally more often goes Republican. That is mixed, though, because that's home to Manchester, New Hampshire, the largest city in the state, and that goes Democrat, although it now has a Republican mayor, largely because Democratic mayors are for shit and get thrown out in places that have brains. And these people, remember, the smartest in the country. And Rockingham tends to be Republican. So, and Merrimack tends to be Democrat. So if you would like to take a different look that shows you Biden against Trump, if we look over here on the smaller map, do people see that, Ted? You'll see how it breaks down. You see the blue, you see the red, or whatever color that is. It's almost burgundy or whatever. Believe it or not, the black areas have no votes at all. I don't think we're getting it, but I don't see it on the screen. But
it's on the screen.
So there it is, right there.
Yeah, they see it, Mayor. What you don't see the screen anymore.
Okay, so these are the Democratic areas. These areas went for Biden. These areas went for Trump. This is where most of the vote is going to take place, right in here. So ignore this if you're a Republican, or if you're a Democrat. You don't want to ignore over here, Dartmouth. But largely, this is where there can. And right now, the latest poll is 50% Trump, 34% Haley, and a ridiculous, what is it, 5% DeSantis or 9% DeSantis, Ted?
5.
No. Now that I mean, this is not made in any sarcastic way at all. It's made just as a pure observer of politics. I would never have believed that. I never believed that, a week before the primary in New Hampshire, the
guy that's been in it for
the number 2 candidate throughout up until recently, until Haley came along, would be at 5. I would say 10, 12% at least. I don't know what happened. I mean, it's like something fell out of the engine fell out of the car. Is that a good statement?
I mean, you're right. I mean, he came into the race with, some say $100 million, and he was supposed to be the alternative to Trump. What did they? What was the early? What was the fake news line? Or no, I mean he would say it too. Trump without the
Oh,
baggage?
maybe something.
No,
Well,
sorry, more
she-
like
Well, she's Trump without the chaos.
yeah, he was Trump without the baggage.
I don't know that she
Maybe it was
realizes
she.
that
I don't
we
know.
need the chaos.
More like
If
Trump
it
without
were
the
Giuliani
personality.
without the chaos, New York City would have maintained the same levels of crime that it had before I came in. But Giuliani, with the chaos, ended up reducing crime more than any mayor in the history of the United States. Trump, with all of the chaos, ended up bringing peace to the Middle East, which is now at war. I mean, the chaos is necessary to change. We have a corrupt system of government. Are we willing to acknowledge that? If we're willing to acknowledge we have a corrupt system of government, not completely, not every place, but in very important aspects of our federal government, certainly at the presidential level, the Biden regime is about as corrupt as at least any regime we know about in the history. If there have been more corrupt regimes in this country, we don't know it. I don't know of any American president alleged to have gotten 20, $30 million from our biggest enemy. Or let's even take it a step back. I don't know any president whose family is alleged to have gotten 20 or $30 million from a communist country, and still surviving, only because we're corrupt. As I say all the time, had the red Chinese or the red Russians, the red Soviets, given Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Carter, Reagan, their family, that kind of money, they'd have gone to jail. Probably for treason. They probably would have put themselves in jail as patriots. I mean, this is what we are going through is surreal. What we're going through with this administration is surreal in terms of the compromise, the bribery, the selling out of the presidency, and the destruction of our criminal justice system. Just watch what's going on in Georgia with the allegations against Fannie and her alleged lover, her what I call special prosecutor, who knows nothing about RICO or about felonies. He must know something about something. He knows about going to the White House to collaborate in bringing false charges and framing the president and me and others and trying to put us in jail for the rest of our lives. You think maybe I'm pretty anxious for them to start investigating that case? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. And discovering what really happened so they can get rid of that lousy, screwed up frame up. Well, the 2024 primary is underway now. The other was a caucus. This is a real election. They're going to show up like everybody else. You're going to press buttons, or they're going to do whatever. No chads. And we're going to see who wins. So I have my geniuses here, and I'm going to ask them for a quick. I mean, as we stand now, and I realize we're almost a week before, not quite a week before. Give me how you think it's going to turn out.
Trump wins big.
How big? No, we don't get away with big, Ted. We got to go like numbers here. What do you say, babes?
On the spot. Cameras on me. Let's say Trump 59.
Wow. All right. I like that. I'm going to write this down.
All right. Trump 56.
56 for Trump. Yeah.
Trump 56. Haley 31. 56 and 31 leaves what? Now it's just a function of math.
87.
Oh, wow. You're good.
I just added it.
DeSantis 4.
No.
No, okay, fine. DeSantis 8. No. DeSantis 8.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess, and then 3,
8, 9.
3.
So we got 6 more to go. 6, 8, 9, 15. Oh, 5 more.
Wow. What percent vote other in New Hampshire?
Five for
That's a
everybody.
lot, right?
5 for everybody.
Okay.
Remember,
Well, there are others on the ballot.
they're all going to be on there. Vivek's going to be on there. Christie's going to be
they're on the ballot?
They're on. You can't get off the
Okay, good.
ballot.
Okay, so I'm comfortable with that much space. Okay.
Now,
But,
Rob, what do you want? What do you want to do here?
And this is Hampshire we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Let's say they love Trump, and let's say I'm not going to deviate much from Ted. I think I'm going to say 60 Trump. Haley, well, what? 25.
All right. So now you got 15 left, babe.
Wow, he's going to compete.
You got 15 left.
Give him 20 for all of his.
Why? No. You're going over. Now you're going over.
For all that money he's.
Now you have 105%.
All right, 15. Give him 15.
No.
For all that damn money that he spent. Oh, you want to give him 12 and then spread the rest out amongst the others?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
For mayor,
52, 36, 8 and 4.
Write these down here.
Good.
You're saying. You're writing this down?
And
predictions for New Hampshire.
But DeSantis is not even going to New Hampshire, right?
There.
I say 52. So Ted is, I got Ted 56, 31, 8 for Ted. 60, 25, 12 for Rob, and 52, 36, 8 for Rudy. And now you're going to get a chance to alter that the night before.
Okay.
It's only
to be there.
Yeah. In fact, we may look at it every night. We'll see. It might be fun, to see how it's going and how it's moving. And Haley's assets there are higher number of educated people. She does well among them, better than he does. And she's got Sununu, who won a landslide victory there. But I don't know if he's been anti-Trump for quite some time. So I think whoever is going to go against Trump because of him has already figured into that 50% that Trump has. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think people know that Sununu hates him, and he makes no bones about it. And I think Trump probably doesn't make too much bones about the fact he doesn't think much of Sununu.
Does that help having? How much does that help Nikki Haley having Sununu?
Helps. It probably gives her
a few points.
It gives her more credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say how many points it gives her. It gives him more credibility because he is a well-liked. I mean, I would think even though a lot of Republicans have turned on him because of this, they still would probably elect him. His brother was a senator. His father was chief of staff to Bush that got fired by Mrs. Bush, and a governor, I think. So I mean, it is a big family in New Hampshire, and big Republican family. And Sununu was a big Trump backer at one time. I don't know, honestly, I don't know what happened, what created but it really isn't political as much as it is personal. And you can't say that Trump doesn't get personal either, but so do the Sununu. So it's a little of both. It's a little of both there.
And
but
we want to hear from all of you. Comment below. Let us know your predictions. And again, we're all gonna pick new. We're all gonna be able to update them each day. Let us know your predictions and maybe include where you're from, especially if you're from New Hampshire, because we really want to hear from you. So those of you tuning in from New Hampshire,
and we're going to be in New Hampshire, so we'll let you know.
Yeah,
we'll let you know objectively, because we can be objective even if we support Trump about it. And right now, I would say
us that
if you want my analysis, Trump's going to win, but Haley's got a chance. It's not over. It's not over.
Dylan Quattrucci, I hope I'm saying that last name right.
To know that name.
Italian. He says that in 2022, Sununu endorsed George Hansel and Chuck Morse And I'm guessing those were the congressional races.
Yeah, they both lost. Yeah.
They both lost in the primary. So that can tell you, if that tells you where Sununu stands with primary voters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
those
so
two
Sununu may get elected with a lot of independent voters. We'll check on registration if we can. But my recollection is that Republicans and Democrats are pretty much even in terms of registration. Largest registration, I believe, is independent, because independent allows you to swing Republican or Democrat in the primary. So on Tuesday, when they walk in there, Republicans have to vote in the Republican primary, Democrats have to vote in the Democratic primary. Slight addendum. A lot of new Democrats were signed up in the last 2 weeks by the Haley people to hijack the so they say like 4 or 5%. So they're going to be a lot of built-in Haley Democrat voters that will probably has jacked her up to about 35 or 36. Then the independent voters, though, but the Democrats can't change now, and the Republicans can't change, but the independents can. So the independents can say, okay, I'll register as a Republican, and they can go vote in the Republican primary. So you can divide the independents there into 3 types of independents. Truly independent, independent that almost always votes Republican, independent that almost always votes Democrat, except when they want to invade the other guy's primary. Makes it an interesting state. And other reason they're the smartest state in the country is they all have PhDs in politics. One is smarter than the other. I mean that half sarcastically and half realistically. So now we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back very shortly. The Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. Tell me when it's up. This is Rudy Giuliani. I'm back with you. I want you to remember that the war in Israel is still going on, and it's hot and heavy. What you see there are, I guess there was 4 rockets, 50 altogether were fired from Gaza into Israel, and you see the Iron Dome in operation. If you look at the 2 at the top there, right? If you look at the 2 at the very top there, you see that little line, the little lines there? That's the Iron Dome rocket intercepting it. And the other 2 are not intercepted. Calculation made by the IDF commander that this is going to not hit anything. It's a fascinating thing that they do. I watched it in operation, oh gosh, probably about 6 years ago. It was a beautiful thing because I got a letter from Bibi Netanyahu before Mrs. Reagan passed away to Mrs. Reagan, thanking Mrs. Reagan for her husband saving the lives of so many Israelis when he stuck to Star Wars, when people were making fun of him. Who was one of the people making fun of him? Guess. Biggest time making fun of him.
Must have been a Democrat.
But think of who it was. Who would be? Ronald Reagan used to explain it so a moron could understand it, because they'd all make fun of it. The New York Times, all the geniuses, the New York Times would make fun of it. if a rocket can shoot down an airplane, a rocket can shoot down another rocket if it's faster and better. Right? Right. Now, who would not understand that? Name one person that you can think of. He's currently extremely active. Well, maybe not so active.
The senator from the great state of Delaware, Joseph Robinette
Nitwit.
Biden.
Yeah, Joseph Robinette, 0 IQ. He used to make fun of this, and he would tell the stupidest jokes that made no sense. And the logical sequence I just went through: a rocket can take down an airplane. If a rocket can take down an airplane, it can take down another airplane if it's faster and smarter. He couldn't get that. He couldn't get it. Can you imagine what's going on now when that half a brain that he has is deteriorated into a small little cell that's left about this big? But there it is, working right there. Now, because these rockets are expensive as hell, and they don't have that many, and they got to conserve a little, they do have to make some choices. So if they think it's going to go off to the desert or to an empty field,
We don't bother with it.
or to a place they can alert, they don't bother with it. And in this case, the result here was some damage done, nobody injured. So this was a perfect 4 for 4, 2 intercepted, 2 sent off into the desert. So it works as expected well over 90% of the time. There are times they're at 98, 99. They have days where it's 100%. And to a very large extent, even when there is damage, the damage is not a direct hit, it's a shrapnel hit, which, as I told Justine when she went there, the best thing to do is get down on the ground and put your face down, because the shrapnel can't get your face if your face is down. The U.S. Made a little pinprick strike. The Houthis have now hit us. Let's see now. I think I have another one here. I just want to show you the number and give you an idea of how robust our response is. So this was yesterday. There were
Upside down.
There were 137. Been 137 attacks by by Iran. We've done about 4 or 5 in response, but they're not even in response. Like we targeted 4 anti-ship missiles, but largely because we had to. They were headed for a ship. It's not as if we went someplace and did damage like they do to us. I mean, they pound the living daylights out of us, and every couple of days, every 5 or 6 days, we wake up and we shoot some empty field. And we killed a couple of them one day, and we thought it was going to stop them. They've done 12 attacks since the last. Since the last attack that we could describe as anything like a major attack, they've shown how deterred they are by hitting us 12 more times. Would you agree there's something wrong with our president? Yeah, he's the appeaser in chief. Appeasement leads to more and more attacks. Until he hits Iran back, it's going to continue. He's going to have to make Iran pay for this, or they'll just continue to do it. And there's a way to make Iran pay for it. Go hit their nuclear facilities and take them out and send them back a decade. Iran, meanwhile, bombed Pakistan to take out a base where I think they thought there might be either other Islamic groups opposed to them or maybe Americans. But they hit Pakistan, and Pakistan is PO'd. Good. I wish Pakistan would bomb them, because somebody's got to take out the Ayatollah. It doesn't sound like it's not going to be us. We don't have the guts to do it. So when we come back, we're going to have for you the 5 stories that I think need the most emphasis, because they're either going to be ignored or de-emphasized based on the new, and we'll once again play Rachel Madcow and give you her view of the First Amendment, which is it's a very interesting view of the First Amendment, a little different than Madison had in mind. We'll be back very shortly.
Our device is something that you can plug into your television And now you can use your television as a social television type experience. So in the Portal universe, you can watch your favorite content creators' videos, live streams, music. We also have TV subscriptions as well.
TV subscriptions.
You can also
regular channels, all the sports.
Right, you can actually cut your cable from your cable subscription and get QUX TV on our QX TV boxes, and you can pay half the price that you're currently paying for your cable television subscription, and you can get all the best premium TV channels and more. I mean, it's really, there's so much on there, Rudy. I mean, you've seen it.
No, I've seen it and I use it, and it's good. I mean, it's just exactly the same except for half the price. Plus, nobody is finding out what I'm watching, and that's not being reported to anybody.
Right, so you have absolute privacy using this device, which you don't have on other devices out there currently on the market.
This is absolutely great. QUX.TV is how you can find out about it. QUX.TV.
Use promo code RUDY to receive $30 off.
All right, we're back.
Are we ready?
Yep.
This is Rudy Giuliani back with you. So now let's go to the ones that I think you might not, they might not pay attention to. There's a great deal of embarrassment, of course, that the in the middle of two wars that are going on, and Americans getting hit every day by Iranian proxies or by Iranians, however you want to look at it, right? I would say that this would be the time that you would never expect the Secretary of Defense to go AWOL. Well, he did. He went AWOL. Not only did he go AWOL from us, from the president. The president didn't know where he was for days, which tells you about the president that he doesn't check in with the office, does he? It means the president is what we have said he is, a lazy bum who really does take those vacations. How is it at a time in which there's war in the Middle East, there's war in Ukraine, he wants money for the Ukraine war, big money, a little bit of money for Israel, but big money for the country where he made big money. And American facilities are being hit every day by bombs. He doesn't call the hey, Secretary, what's going on, babes? No. I work for one president. I was a lawyer to the other president. I even spent some time hanging around a few of the other presidents' White Houses, including Clinton. Hard for me to believe that they go 4 or 5 days in the middle of something like this and not be talking to the Secretary of Defense or the person designated for the Secretary of Defense, which he couldn't have done because then he would have realized that Austin was hiding in the hospital. Now, this was so bad that when Austin went off to the hospital, his people called up and they asked if there'd be no lights and sirens. And the people in Virginia, I guess, said, I'm sorry, maybe the sec def, but it's illegal. See, he's not, if it was Hunter Biden, they'd have done it. But he's only the Secretary of Defense, so they put on the lights and sirens anyway. But they were really trying to cover this up, big time. I mean, it's outrageous during a time. It's not as if we're like nice and sleepy right now. We got a freaking wars going on. The Secretary of Defense is AWOL, and the president doesn't know where the hell he is. This is really even more about the president than it is about him. But nobody asked the question about the president. What the hell does he do all day if he doesn't call the Secretary of Defense for days? Well, he's on a working vacation, says Little Red Riding Hood, or former Admiral Kirby.
I like that. That's a great one.
Right? I mean, yeah, they don't bother to tell us that the prez is incommunicado. He doesn't talk to a Secretary of Defense. Now, excuse me if I'm a little annoyed about the allegations against little Fanny and the very special prosecutor. The allegations, they're allegations and they're presumed innocent, just like they presumed me to innocent when they were leaking for months about the crimes I committed acting like a lawyer. I've been practicing law for over 50 years. I actually was a very, very good law student. I'm just trying to distinguish myself from these jackasses and who make up the law, and prosecuted some of the most famous cases in the last century. Would you say? I'm going to tell you straight out, I didn't commit a crime. It's really annoying when you didn't commit a crime to get indicted, sent into a jail that's the worst jail in America, be told that you have to march through it, even though I've arraigned more people than she knows or met or talked to in her life. I never did that to them. Just to humiliate you. I mean, these are really, really cheap people. I told you that Atlanta, and particularly Fulton County, is corrupt as hell. Corrupt as hell. Now, I don't know if these allegations are true or false. It doesn't take away from the fact we're talking about a really corrupt place. So here's the allegations are that she put together 2 grand juries instead of 1. Immediately suspect, right? My lawyer and I, Bob Costello, can't figure out what's this other grand jury for. I'm going before a grand jury that doesn't indict. They just make recommendations. Well, now I figured it out in retrospect, allegedly. Couldn't it be that she had the first grand jury and then the second to double the amount of money that they could allegedly steal? And couldn't it be that she also had 2 so she could stretch it out so they could stick it in the election year? And couldn't that be the reason, allegedly, why the very special prosecutor had to make 2 trips to Washington to coordinate with the White House? What was he coordinating? Obviously, my prosecution, Trump's prosecution, my frame up, Trump's frame up. I mean, this is the party that framed Trump for Russian collusion. Why the hell wouldn't they frame him for this? Why wouldn't they fix an election if they would frame you? Why wouldn't they fix an election if they wouldn't? They're certainly willing to use false charges to remove an awfully elected president, to impeach a president hiding a hard drive that, by the way, stupidly got validated again today. Ted, tell us about this. How many times are they going to validate this damn thing?
That's right, man.
Do I get my money from Biden for defaming me?
That's right. I mean, he even went up on stage during the debates and told however tens of millions of Americans, he called you a Russian pawn. He did that on debate stage, and you're suing him for it.
He made it out like I was a spy. I mean, it really hurt my career. It hurt my law practice.
That's right. So,
and he wasn't president then. He's just a private citizen, just like you and me. And I sued him in Concord, New Hampshire, because it allows you to collect from him in every state. And maybe if I get a judgment, I'll get to see the offshore bank accounts.
Federal prosecutors further acknowledged in court documents filed Tuesday that the laptop Hunter Biden dropped off at a computer store is in fact real, adding that the contents on the laptop matched what had previously been obtained through a search warrant on the president's son's Apple iCloud. In the court documents, Biden's DOJ said the IRS and FBI obtained a search warrant for tax violations in August 2019 and were able to gain access to Hunter's Apple iCloud account. By September 2021, Apple produced backups of data from various electronic devices Hunter backed up to his iCloud account.
Does me a lot of good, huh? Yeah, and how about those 51 prostitutes that who were supposedly intelligence agents? The word intelligence just doesn't apply to them. Those big liars who signed the letter. There's some of the biggest names in intelligence and some of the people who've made the biggest mistakes in American intelligence, including that the hard drive had indications of Russian collusion, except they never mentioned one, which is always a giveaway that they're lying when they never mention one. Just like Fannie Fanny and the very special prosecutor, when Fanny went in front of the Black Church, House of God, and said that this was all done to her because she's Black, she forgot to do something. She didn't deny any of the allegations. I don't care about the sexual allegations. I don't care. What I care about is whacking up to 700 grand for trips to the Caribbean, for trips to Florida, for trips to California, for trips. How much do they whack up? That's not their money. That's federal and state money. How come they haven't had a search warrant, Ted?
That's
I mean,
right.
they've had a week now to destroy documents. They went and searched. They went and searched Trump at Mar-a-Lago because they were afraid that he was going to destroy documents. What these people aren't under the same cloud of suspicion?
Yeah,
Or
unfortunately,
are they Democrats who have the favor of the communist regime in Washington?
that's right. We are becoming more and more like Moscow every day. It's
You have
absolutely
our
absurd.
favor. You will not be searched. You got plenty of time to destroy documents. Don't worry. And by the way, why don't you destroy them?
It's quite something. We were in Washington D.C. for a week not too long ago, and I've never.
Oh, with that
I mean,
judge?
I felt like we were in Soviet Russia.
It could have been.
People's Court of Soviet Russia.
It could have been. Yeah. I mean, you're not even allowed to put a defense in. Every time you put a defense in, you get. And if you want to testify, you get threatened with contempt and being put in jail like the J6 people.
There what? It's
And she's a little frightening because she's bloodthirsty. I mean, she put those J6 people in jail.
called me out,
Forever.
too, at one point.
And you know, she's the one. We're talking about Judge Barrett now. I think is it Judge Barrett? I
forgot her. That's
I
not
keep
it.
forgetting
That's not
her.
it. That's not it. But I won't.
Beryl Howell. That's it.
Well,
Beryl Howell.
we'll just-
Good old Beryl Howell called. I know. Don't talk about it. My lawyers are going crazy now. Beryl, because she has to sit on my motion for a new trial. Like I got a chance of winning that motion. I got a chance of winning that motion. Like any of those J6 people had a chance of not going to jail forever. I mean, she called the judges together and told them they weren't giving enough time to the people who were walking around there trespassing. How about the shaman who they held the door open for him? The cops held the door open for the Senate and they put the guy in jail.
It is. It can. Yeah. It is unbelievable. It is.
Okay, so Fanny won't get the appropriate coverage, and nobody will ask, how come no search warrant on Fanny, and have they destroyed the documents already? And Hunter, not only do we have the laptop validated for the 445th time, we now have found, big surprise, there's cocaine powder on the gun pouch. There are pictures of him driving an automobile several days before he bought the gun or several days after, smoking crack, putting the lives of American citizens in jeopardy. His crooked father and the crooked FBI and the crooked Justice Department didn't do a damn thing about that. Now that's a serious thing. Crack pipe, driving a car, children on the road, and you don't give a damn? What the hell is wrong with you? You're crooks, and you're evil crooks. How about the one where Hunter tells you, Joe, that he's a danger to your grandchildren, and you don't do a damn thing about it? I don't know what's wrong with my country leaving you there. And I don't know what's wrong with the people in Washington putting up with you. Saw you on television before. I haven't seen people like that in the worst wards of a nursing home. A couple of times you looked half dead. Why the hell you get out of that office? You don't know what the hell you're doing anyway, and you're getting people killed. AWOL Austin. Probably if you called them every day, you wouldn't remember it. So what are we kidding ourselves for? What the heck are we kidding ourselves for? Now, you think we have free speech in this country? I'm going to tell you what free speech means to the left in this country. This is what it's become. Because we know that the Biden regime was collaborating with all the crooked social media to cut off conservative thought, criticism of Biden. They took me off. I had 1 million people and I was tweeting out about how crooked that whole J6 thing was. I was doing it the day after it happened, and 2 days, and they took me off YouTube. Wonder why? This is the concept they have of the First Amendment. I want you to listen to Rachel Madcow when Donald Trump is about to give a historic acceptance speech, having won a historic victory, the largest victory of any Republican in an Iowa primary. And here's what happens in a country that theoretically has free speech. Remember, the Soviets had free speech in their constitution too, and so do the Chinese. But this is the way it's applied. So Madcow is now using the Chinese, communist, and Nazi approach to free speech. Let's listen to Madcow.
At this point in the evening, the projected winner of the Iowa caucuses has just started giving his victory speech. We will keep an eye on that as it happens. There is a reason that we and other news organizations have generally stopped giving an unfiltered live platform to remarks by former President Trump. His remarks tonight will not air here live. We will monitor.
Right, I'm back.
Now, just in case you think it's limited to Madcow, let's listen to the Communist News Network's representative make it clear that this Orwellian idea of restricted speech, and they can be the arbiter of what you get to hear and not. They decide what you get to hear from the leading candidate of one of the two biggest parties in the United States.
To seal up the border. Because right now we have an invasion. We have an invasion of millions and millions of people that are coming into our country. I can't imagine why they think that's a good thing.
Donald Trump declaring victory with a historically strong showing in the Iowa caucuses. If these numbers hold, the biggest victory for a non-incumbent president in the modern era for this contest. A relatively subdued speech as these things go so far, although here he is right now under my voice. You hear him repeating his anti-immigrant rhetoric.
Oh, and I just want a quick shout out to Media Research Center, Newsbusters, for providing us with that.
Well, thank you very much, Newsbusters. What he just said is factual. What are you talking about? Since the last time that man was in office, that you were demeaning Jake, whatever the hell your name is, he had immigration down to about 420. This year it was 3.2 million that we counted. Probably another 3 million we don't know. And we don't know who the hell they are. The ones that came in from China, we used to ask 40 questions. We now ask 4. So anybody could have a communist spy right next to them. Why can't the American people get to make up their own mind about that? In fact, it's a lot clearer that it's what he's saying than what you're saying. What you're saying is a damn lie. That's not fictitious immigration rhetoric. There is an invasion going on. I mean, bare minimum, we've got about 5-6 million people in this country, and we have very little knowledge about who they are. We probably got another 2-3 million that were gotaways. We don't even know who they are, and they are controlled by the cartels that would guarantee us that a lot of them are bad people. And they're creating problems all over the country. Just come to my city, jackass, and cut off free speech in China. Why don't you go report in China and cut off free speech? Where do you come off cutting off a guy who just got nominated by one of the two parties in this country, one of the oldest parties in the country, and the party that opposed slavery, rather than the one that you like, that helped to keep slavery going for a longest time, and now is advocating you're becoming the arbiter of what I can hear. I'm sorry, Jake, I don't trust you. I think your ideology has overcome whatever brain you had or whatever conscience you had. And Madcow, you're completely off your rocker. Where the hell do you come off deciding what I can hear and what I can't hear? Wow. Do we need changes badly? Yeah, and we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. And I'm going to have my gonna gonna have to have my balance in nature. I got to have my balance in nature. I got to go get my balance.
Say again? Yeah.
Body is an amazing chemical laboratory. When you give it the right chemistry, it functions the best. Balance of Nature is the ultimate whole fruit and vegetable chemistry.
Get 35% off your first order by using discount code RUDY.
And we're back.
Well, balanceofnature.com, promo code Rudy. Get your veggies, get your fruit. I just got a new supply in. This is coming to New Hampshire with me, packing it up just a little later when Ed and I take off early tomorrow morning on our way to, I think we're going a little north of Manchester, right? We'll be basically around Manchester. We're gonna have a house party on Friday. You'll get to see what a Manchester or Bedford, I think Bedford's gonna be in Bedford, political house party is all about. Tomorrow night we'll get our bearings and do a little scouting out for you and let you know how things look from the ground. We'll go talking to people and getting them to open up. I'm good at that. I used to when I was mayor. You know, how you can tell what you got to look for? And that's how I called the last one, almost exactly. I even called DeSantis finishing ahead of Haley. I looked at the enthusiasm number. Here was the enthusiasm number in Iowa. 84% Trump, 44%, 45% DeSantis, 9% Haley. If it stays that way there, she ain't getting anywhere near those numbers. If the enthusiasm goes up, we're going to have a race. I'll let you know that tomorrow when I can steal the inner parts of the poll. They don't always put that out. You have to go searching around for them. They particularly don't put it out if it's against a candidate they like. Like they want Haley right now. So if they're not giving it to me, then I know it's got some inner numbers that ain't so good for her. Yeah, I've been at this a long time. So you got to get to know the tricks. You know what we're missing, Ted, Rob? We're missing the World Forum. Can you believe the world? Well, it's not just the Economic Forum. It's the world. Klaus Schwab. I want to invite you all here to the World Forum, where we will introduce John Kerry, who has come here on his super plane. Please excuse the fact that he did more damage to the climate than anyone, but it's okay if you're part of the party. And we will control the world. We will control the world, says Klaus Schwab. Klaus.
They were playing clips of it just before.
A bit like Dr. Strangelove. And Klaus Schwab does believe that there should be one world government, that the United States, the United States is not much. And agreeing with him is Soros, who thinks American nationalism is evil and immoral. Not to mention the stuff he did in his life. Holy man. I don't know how I don't know how that guy lives with himself, but in any event, and what he's doing, getting people, particularly black people, killed in inner cities now is ridiculous with these DAs. I mean, they let murderers out, they kill people, they come back and let them out again, and they murder again. And the new president of Argentina got up today or yesterday, and he basically told them to go stick it up their backsides. He told them that the worst thing would be world collaboration, that we need individuality in the world. We need individual nations, and we need them competing with each other. Gee, sounds like Argentina first, America first, and then we all compete.
Yeah, we're not gonna be ready for that one world scenario.
Yeah, we want to be one world under Klaus Schwab. We heard about that one world once before, Klaus, a couple of times before. Then let's see, just a couple of other little things. I want to make sure I got everything. Oh, yeah. So if we do the one world, we can all have electric cars, which means we can travel 20 miles at a time and stop for an hour, which would be okay. We could do that. We're going to have electric tanks so that we can lose to China quickly. It won't take long. We're going to have, let me see what else they have on. I'm looking at we're going to have, World Health mandates. So the World Health Organization, controlled by communist China, can destroy all of us whenever it wants, like they did with COVID. But then they'll have a chance to do it every couple of years, like lock you up, decide that you have to take a vaccine that you don't need, decide that you have to take a vaccine that's never been tested. That's even better. To give you vaccines that never been tested. We're going to test vaccines for animals on people because Gates and Schwab and everybody else and Soros have decided there are too many people on Earth. And that's the biggest problem with global warming, too many people. Yeah, I mean, they're breathing out. Those people are breathing out. They're going to...
Inconveniencing.
Geez, what happened to global warming in Iowa this week?
Yeah.
When everybody was freezing there.
New York right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was out before. Jesus, Kerry, why don't you come over here with your plane and fly over and get it warm or something? Or maybe somebody could, you know what? So there'll be a global agreement on health, and Biden wants to sign it. This is why you have to elect Trump, because Trump will come in, he will take a look at it, and he will say, goodbye. No global agreement on peace. And by the way, we don't get governed by a World Health Organization that helped to kill millions of people and covered up COVID to help the Chinese. And you, jackass, little brain, anti-American traitor in the White House, put us back in with those World Health Organization people. They killed the hell out of us. So, man, please, there's so much involved in this election. So you listen to the World Economic Forum and tell me if you don't vomit, I'd be surprised. This is right out of some science fiction movie.
Georgia.
Yeah, right out of science fiction, man. They were all going there with their big jets. Yeah. All their big jets and going to tell all of us stupid people how we should lead our lives. Because they're so perfect. Yeah, you want to be like John Kerry? I don't want to look like him.
Look, he recovered, so remember he fell off his bike. I'm not making fun of him for getting hurt, but
John Kerry?
The president used to make fun of him.
Biden fell off his bike.
Biden fell off his bike, but so
I don't remember Kerry. Oh, I think John Kerry missed his career. Man, he'd been a hell of a Frankenstein. Wow. He'd have been one hell of a Frankenstein, a live production of Frankenstein. The guy's made a fortune, though, cheating us and with this con operation, with this climate change con operation. I mean, and the change to climate change is hilarious. It's hilarious. Of course, there's climate change. People ask me all the time, Mayor, do you believe in climate change? Well, of course I believe in climate change. Spring, summer, fall,
winter.
And winter.
4 of them.
I'm a New Yorker. I believe in climate change. What, you don't believe in climate change? They don't want to say global warming because then anytime it gets cold, they get screwed up. I remember Gore was here years ago talking about climate change, and it was like 5 or 6 below zero, and everybody was laughing at him. And he's laughing on the way to the bank. He's worth billions with that whole con operation. And, you buy your not Britney Spears. Who's the one that's so famous now they made a person of the year?
Oh.
Because she goes out with a football player. And
Taylor Swift.
I've never heard a song of hers. But
Shake It Off.
Why? What did I do?
No, that's
Want me to shake off what? I don't have to shake it.
That's the name of one.
I have
That's the name of a song
I
of hers.
wouldn't know in a million years.
I knew one.
I wouldn't know in a million years. I know she's going out with a football player, and she ruined his career.
There's a lot.
He was
Travis Kelce.
He was like an all-star player. He's not going to make the all-star team this year.
No, well, he's too busy. He's
Too busy. He's not catching passes anymore. Mahomes has to what? They have him out there.
Taylor Swift.
I think they have him out there so she comes to the games to draw the crowd because Mahomes never even throws to him anymore. Mahomes throws it to him. He's looking up. See, Chandler, look at.
They definitely, yesterday, this past weekend, whatever network it was, they were panning to her every 5 minutes. Some weeks they make a point not to. Others, it's on her the entire game.
The Chiefs actually finally won a game with her around.
Yeah.
They have a losing record with her there,
Wow. And that's new. They don't usually lose.
I think he caught a pass about 2 weeks before he met her.
They're playing in Buffalo this weekend, I believe. Do you think she'll go to the game? Buffalo?
Yeah, she'll stay nice and warm. Come on. They'll have.
I don't like sitting in the suites. I like being out in the crowd. At Lambeau?
I don't think she'll be out in the crowd. You want to make a little bet on that?
Well, yeah, she won't.
She won't be out in the crowd.
No. What would you do for Giants games? You ever sit in the crowd or you're in the boxes?
I do both. Both.
Okay.
Last Giant game I went to with Giants and the Cowboys, I sat outside.
Oh, wow.
It was in December.
Well, we were thinking about going to I'm a big Packer fan. The mayor's, as you all know, a Giants fan. We were going to go to the Packer. We were considering the Packer Giants game. But
maybe
a judge in DC had other plans for us.
Yeah. The fair judge. I should really root for Buffalo in that game. They're really the only New York team.
That's true.
I mean, it's the New Jersey Giants and the New Jersey Jets, really.
That's right. And still Chris Christie rooted for the Cowboys.
That's the weirdest damn thing with the Eagles in one place and the Giants and the Jets in another.
He takes the Cowboys. We should have knew something was off then, right?
That's weird. That's really
odd.
That is truly weird. In fact, I'm surprised he survives.
Because you get if I was the governor of New Jersey, I'd use that against New York the whole time. I'd be the biggest Giants and Jets fan, right?
Yeah, he never.
I'd be the biggest Giants.
He never did. You. And we
the New Jersey Jets.
Yeah, the New Jersey Jets, the New Jersey Giants. But the New Jersey Giants just doesn't work. The New York Giants has such a history.
They do, unlike the Jets.
Well, the Jets have a history too. I like the Jets. I love Joe Namath. Wow, what a character he is. I really liked him.
So
great quarterback, great character.
Oh, so we're on a closing note, Mayor. Again, we're a week out. We're 6 days out. But for tonight, we're going to revisit your numbers. And because we're allowed to change them, and once we're up there and spend some time, I'm curious on what you'll say Friday.
Okay, well, we're going to put these numbers down and we're going to register them, and we'll see where we are after we get to sniff around and take the pulse of the smartest state in the union. Maybe we'll get smarter up there, Ted. They'll challenge us.
God knows I could.
Well, they'll challenge us. Yeah. They definitely have higher IQs. I mean, you come from Michigan. I come from New York. I don't even know.
Hey, whoa. I speak for yourself.
I don't even know where we are.
New York. Well, we have Detroit and you have New York City.
I know. Probably
the public school.
Yeah, the teachers.
Great cities, not knocking the cities.
The
public schools.
It's teachers unions. Yeah, not even it's the teachers union. If you got public schools without the communist teachers union, you're okay.
And that's the word in New York City. You had to deal with them. But anyway, we could go on that. We got to do a special on your you and the teachers unions, Randy Weingartner back in the day.
I'll do a special on what it was like to deal with Randy the commie.
Yeah, that'd be
absolutely. No, she was a commie back then.
So we'll see tomorrow.
I actually shook hands with a communist yesterday. Bill de Blasio at Joe Esposito's funeral. Our great legendary chief of department died tragically. He was chief of department longer than anyone else. He was chief of department during September 11. I would say he was instrumental in helping to save my life. So it was a very emotional morning the other morning with Bernie Carrick and my son and a lot of other people. Well, God bless you. God bless the greatest country on earth, the United States of America. Isn't it wonderful that we have these elections? It's a great thing. Let's preserve it, protect it, and defend it. God bless America. Our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply